we got our first guest here that we're going to add to the stream, Mr. Paul, and then we got our brother Darius. And I want Paul to come on first, and let me just do this. Let me bring him on to the channel, and then we're going to bring on our Darius as well too. And Darius, I'm gonna put you on mute, but I'm gonna let Mr. Paul talk about what is his experience and contribute to this conversation. Mr. Paul, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing fantastic on this beautiful Saturday morning, man.
Yes.
Man, where is Mr. Wade? And if I have a background behind me, it's actually not a background. It's actually a kitchen that I'm actually in right now, and it's a fantastic kitchen in one of the vacation rentals that we're in. But man, tell me this, Mr. Paul. Man, what is it that you want to add to this conversation, man? Have you gone through this before?
Actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I have gone through this. My wife, a little over 2 years ago, due to bad dose of antidepressant meds, high doses, became that 1 in a million with suicidal thoughts and actually tried to kill herself. Wow. And I stopped her. I trained Krav Maga and Muay Thai, and you never think you're going to fight your own spouse to keep her away from the lockbox with the gun in it, because she was hell-bent on getting there. So I have some very personal perspective on this topic. And I think, in her case, it was drug-induced. She had a psychotic break. But in their minds, and we talked about it a lot afterwards, it's people get to a point where they think that's their best choice, which is sad. But the bigger thing I want to talk about is it took me 10 months of therapy to kind of come to terms with it. And just talking to the men, there is a stigma around getting mental health help when you need it. And we need to break that stigma. So when people are suffering, hurting, especially us guys, we want to fix everything. We want to make everything right. We don't want to admit something's wrong. There's help out there, and we've got to get the message out that getting help does not make you weak. It's actually harder to go get help, in my opinion. Because I did want to get help at first. My doctor was like, you got to get some therapy. My wife's like, you got to get some therapy. Her therapist was like, you got to get some therapy. And it really helped. And I'm happy to talk about it if I can help save one other person that goes and gets the help they need. That's suffering. So, and I think it's just that they're suffering, and to them, there is no other option, which is sad. So they've reached some bottom point where they can't come up with a better choice than to end their life. And that's just sad. So it's just a little bit about my personal story and my message. I'll get off my soapbox.
No, man, Mr. Paul, I appreciate you for sharing that, man. Thank you for sharing that story. And I can tell you this, I can tell you like this, sir, man. It's just sad to hear. It's very sad to hear. And you're absolutely right about, we carry a lot of weight on our shoulders as men, and we want things to be fixed, and we protect ourselves and try to protect our family. But you're right. One of the hardest things is to go and get help. Right. And I can tell you this, man, I had when COVID happened, I found myself getting some interesting thoughts at one point in time, and interesting thoughts of, it wasn't about, checking out or anything like that. It was more of why am I looking at the world a little bit different than how I used to? I am a gun carrier, right? I have my concealed carry and so forth. And when COVID happened after a while, and, the world had changed, and we saw the George Floyd thing on TV and stuff like that, I started to look at the world a bit different, because I was consuming so much content and so much stuff that was just negative, and I couldn't sleep very well. And I just remember walking out one day, and I went to a gas station, and I was looking over my shoulder the entire time. And many of you guys know me, that's the last person that looks over my shoulder, because everything is just completely fine, right? But I do carry, right? I'm just looking over my shoulder, just feeling like I'm paranoid. And then I just said to myself, I'm like, something ain't right. Something isn't right. And it's good to be able to assess yourself, but it's also good to be able to go and get the help. And what I realized at that point in time, Mr. Paul, I called my mom, and I was on my way home, and I told her about this feeling. Then I came home, I talked to my wife, and I said, you know what? I got to get some help to really get out of this thought process that the world has turned to be such an ugly place, going through this. And ultimately I had to get help. And that's what I had to do. Right. And I was able to snap out of it relatively fast. And, I'm glad that you brought that up because it gives me an opportunity to share something that's went on in my life, has gone on in my life that, I was able to reach out to get the help that I needed in order for me to move forward. And I hope that whoever is listening to this show today, they recognize that they can do the exact same thing too. They can do the exact same thing. So I appreciate you, man, for sharing this story. Anything else you want to say before I get Mr. Darius on?
Nope. I also carry 24/7, so I understand looking over your shoulder, especially in crazy times. You just never know what's going to happen. But you're right, keeping your head on, getting the help you need, and 988 is the new suicide and crisis helpline, 3-digit code that people can call just to get a plug in there if they ever need help and are at that point. There's somebody there to listen.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, Mr. Paul, for coming on.
Thanks.
Appreciate you, man. Mr. Ardarius, how are you doing today, sir? Can you hear us?
Hey, how's it going? Good morning. Yeah, I had muted myself when I came in.
No, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you for coming on this today to give us your opinion, to share, what could potentially be going through your mind or what your thoughts on this whole Twitch boss situation. Mr. Paul just gave us some eye openers, right? And it's one of those things that just opened my eyes up because people go through this every single day, whether it is them or it's a spouse or so forth. What's your feedback on this whole situation, Mr. Ardarius? Speak to us, man. What's up, ladder climbers? This is Antoine Wade. I wanted to interrupt this video to talk to you guys about Course Careers. Course Careers is the place that you guys need to go if you have a high interest into tech sales. They will help you gain the skills that you need so that you can enter the tech sales world to make a whole bunch of money. Tech sales salaries early on is about $60,000, guys. That's a good salary. And with OTEs, you can make anywhere from $85,000 to $90,000. If you have an interest in tech sales, check out Course Careers, link in the description. And don't forget to use Antoine50 so that you can get a $50 discount off of Course Careers. See you guys in tech sales.
For starters, I want to say good morning to everybody. Shout out to the Black Heights community. Happy Saturday. Man, big shout out to Paul. That is that right. That's a different type of man right there.
Yep.
That's a different type of man right there, straight up. What I will say is that there are different triggers for deep depression. And the way you brought it in was, we're talking about a successful man. Subtopic or category for that is a successful Black man. So we would, from the outside looking in, we would say, man, 2 homes. He's got a awesome music career. He's very well known in the Hollywood and in the famous spaces of American society.
Yep.
But I think it's safe to say that the family, the fame, his success wasn't enough to get him through the next day. It's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous, where they just encourage you to take it one day at a time. And I've seen many people in those circles lose that battle. I've seen many people lose that battle.
Wow. No, man, that's deep, Mr. Ardarius, man. That is absolutely deep, man. That battle it has to be hard, Mr. Ardarius. I mean, anything that you can share personally that have you ever had thoughts like that, or do you know of anybody that has? And it sounds like you do, based on obviously the what you just referenced.
Yeah.
Share something else, man.
I'll say for the ladies. For the ladies that are, I'll say single mothers or new mothers, women go through what's called the postpartum depression after they've delivered their child. And a lot of times we assume that they're okay.
Well, you're talking about something else right now, boy. Keep going.
A lot of times we assume that they're okay. And if I'm not mistaken, postpartum depression can last for years. It's not, oh, she got her 8 weeks off. She got her 3 months off from work. She can go back to work and so on and so forth. And nah, it don't work like that. Nah, it don't work like that at all. I have a cousin who's a professional therapist, who's building her own practice. And for a long time, she worked with children who were victims of SA. So I'm pretty sure many times throughout her professional career that she's had to talk children out of harming themselves. And she also works with veterans. That's another subcategory where self-checkout is an issue.
That's right.
But
man.
me personally,
that's right, brother Darius, man. You're right. I mean, these are the things that don't often get talked about.